Here is Nana passing out gifts.
What a bomb! Oh my gosh! Betsy, did you see what's over here? Oh my goodness!
Say hi, Sean. Say hi, Ellen.
Emily, you tell me later what Aunt Elsa and little kids.
Mom, you can do those later.
You want to go sit by Eric so he can video this? Was I just sitting there?
Well, I'm Ella Larson, part of the Larson's family, and I am very happy and delighted to be here, especially at my age. I just celebrated my 87th birthday.
Wow.
And I'm still able to travel, but thanks to my daughter, she's with me here.
For those of you who don't know, Ella was married to Bert Larson. Bert Larson was Viola Seraphine's brother. Okay? So.
And Viola and she were very, very close. They were sisters in love.
They were four Larsons. Viola was the oldest. Then came Roger. And then came George, my husband, and Larry. And by the grace of God, first of all, I am here in California. I came a long, long way to make United States my home, because I am from Europe and I'm World War II survivor, and I lived in 4 different countries. And then it was another miracle by the grace of God that I came from California, from New York to California. And another grace of a miracle is I went to college and I met Bert Larson and married him. I'm writing a story of my life because it's just a life of miracles.
Excuse me, where were you actually born?
Ukraine.
Okay, that's what I thought.
In Ukraine, but at that time it was Russia.
Yeah.
And I lived in Poland, and I lived in Budapest, Hungary, and I lived in Bavaria, in Germany, before I came here. And it was not pleasure traveling. It was World War II and escaping the battles and all kinds of persecution. Ended up in German labor camps. I was only a teenager at that time, and anyway, by the miracle came here. I was glad that we ended up in Bavaria where the Americans came, because Germany was divided after war. Northern went to England and Eastern went to Russia, and I ended up in the American zone, and that was a miracle too, and that's how I got here. So anyway, when I came here, another miracle had happened, because my dad, who graduated from Moscow University in 1914, from Lomonosov University, oldest in Europe, and he was advocate, which is, in America, he was a lawyer, advocate, he's a lawyer, yes. And of course, he was considered the Tsarist times, and when the Bolsheviks coming, he was persecuted a lot. He was arrested, and we had to flee Russia. Came illegally, and that's how our journey started. Yes, and when he was in university there, because he had a roommate, and when they got to the United States, by we came by at that time, we got finally visa to come here, but you needed to have a sponsor, yeah, to pay to come in here. And our sponsor was Church World Service in New York, because at that time the big immigration was the Jewish people, because they traveled so much during the Holocaust, and the Jewish people were sending money and bringing people here. But then the Christians decided to do the same thing, and they formed the Church World Service in New York, and we were the first one. You know, American Consul phoned my dad, because we were sitting in camps, in honor camp at that time, when my dad applied for a visa, and he got a visa. It took him a year, but then it took us another year to find a sponsor. And my aunt, who lived here, we lost the contact with her during the war. We couldn't find her, so we didn't have a sponsor. And then finally, American Consul in München calls my dad and said, I got a sponsor for you. And there was people, Church World Service, who started giving money, and we were the first family who was sponsored by Church World Service coming to the United States. It was by grace of God. In my wildest dreams, I couldn't plan it anyway. You just can't plan it anyway. And when we were traveling, it was an army boat. We left Bremen, Holland from Germany, and it was an army boat. It was 500 passengers. Most of them were Jewish family. There were only 2 Christian family. One was us, by Church World Service, and another one was a cousin of Sikorsky, the helicopter inventor, and he was sponsoring them from Yugoslavia, you know. And then we came here to the United States, and they greeted us in New York. Church World Service also in New York was organized together, and they greeted us, put us in Hotel Diplomat, and it was just like being in heaven when I came, and I saw all those lights, neon lights on my floor. And we lived in darkness during the World War. You couldn't even light a match or be arrested, you know, because of bombing, you know. And here it was just like living in paradise. Well, anyway, and then how I got to college, because the roommate of my dad in Moscow immigrated during the Revolution through France, and he came to the United States. And of course, this war ended in 45, and he immigrated in 17. So he lived here a long time, and he learned English, and he became a writer, and a good writer. He even got a Pulitzer Prize for writing Trouble in Giant was his book, you know, and he got the Pulitzer Prize for it. And he was teaching creative writing at Florida Southern College. So one day he found out about us coming, because at that time all the immigrants that were coming to the United States, their names were published in a paper, and he still had a summer home in Churayevka, which in Connecticut. He formed a Russian village there, and he was getting the paper from New York, and he saw my dad's name. My name was French, because my dad was the foreigner in Savon, and there's only one Savon in Russia with French name like that. And he saw my dad's name, Arkady Savon. He called it that paper, and they gave him the address where we were living in the Church World Service, and he showed up in New York in our apartment. You know, came up, and it was a miracle too. He came, and of course they met, my dad and him both met, and he saw me. I couldn't even speak English at that time, because I was taking French and German in school, and I thought England was so far away. When I lived in Poland, I wouldn't need English. and now, you know, I'm thinking of the poem, The Road North Taken, by Frost. Famous fellow when I was in college, I was studying. That was my favorite poem, The Road Not Taken. I remember myself being in Europe at that time, that I didn't take English, I didn't need to. And then all of a sudden it's the language of my children, and all that, you know. But anyway, this professor decided that I had to take us away, and I didn't have a high school diploma. I only finished 7th grade. And I was told that they think if you finish European gymnasium, they call it, it equals a high school plus a year of college. I don't know. But anyway, because of him, I got accepted in the Florida Islamic College, just like a regular student, freshman. I took all the regular freshman courses, and because of him, and he was my guardian there at college, and my English students there was very good to me. She formed the international club, and she started bringing all her friends, giving dinners, and they were bringing clothes for me, so she outfitted me. I had clothes, I had everything, and it was kind of a special at the campus. Everybody wanted me, and my cousin was with me too. Her father was officer in the Tsar's army, so he got killed in Siberia by Bolsheviks, We lost 12 people from our family, when the Bolsheviks came over. And no fault at all. They just considered Tsarist people, So she was lived with me too. And so anyway, she was there with me also. And we went to college, and that's where I met the Larson, one of the best part of the family in America, the Larsons. Yeah, and he was on the campus there. So anyway, I won't tell you how we met, because I was very, very shy and didn't talk. Everybody see me and I would run away, But one of the professors at that college was another Russian professor. His name was Sokolov. He's the one who developed vitamin P, But he stuttered and he couldn't teach. So he was working in a lab or research all the time at the college. And one time they were preparing some orange juice for the faculty meeting. And this professor meets me at the college, and he asked me, come to the lab and help us prepare orange juice. And I did. And Bert Lawson, he was a horticulture student there. So his teacher also asked him to come and squeeze juice. There were a lot of students who were squeezing juice. That's how I met Bert, my husband, in the lab squeezing juice. yeah. So anyway, it ended in my favor, And at the time he was dating a very beautiful girl, a daughter of a lawyer in Philadelphia, but her dad came over one time, and he was along the Chi Alpha fraternity, a very popular guy. He was good looking, and a lot of girls were after him, So, but I felt safe. I thought he had a girlfriend, so nothing, even though I liked him, Yeah.
You gotta watch those safe ones.
Yeah, but anyway, he started, after our lab was squeezing juice, this professor meets me at the college, and he asked me, he said, you didn't like my Bert. And I said, your Bert? I said, he has a girlfriend, And he said, oh, no, he doesn't. Well, I found out that girlfriend's father came over, and he talked to Bert and wanted to know what his intentions were. Because so Bert got scared, because I guess he wanted to marry his daughter. And he didn't think he could afford her, because she was from a rich family, and of course Bert wasn't. The reason he fell in love with me because I was poor. And there you go, because I was like his mother, reminded him of his mother, That's exactly, what he said,